A brutal necessity. The Sullivan Expedition of 1779. The American Revolutionary War was a maelstrom of ideology, ambition, and bloodshed. While the 13 colonies fought for independence, the conflict's flames spread far beyond the 13 colonies, engulfing Native American communities and igniting a brutal chapter in American history, the Sullivan Expedition of 1779. This scorched earth campaign, authorized by the Continental Congress and led by Major General John Sullivan, aimed to neutralize the threat posed by Iroquois tribes allied with the British. The expedition remains a controversial episode, a stark reminder of the complexities and moral dilemmas inherent in war. While some argue it was a necessary measure to protect American settlers and secure victory, others condemn it as an act of genocide against the Iroquois people. The Sullivan Expedition, therefore, compels us to confront the uncomfortable truths of a nation born in revolution. The year 1779 marked a turning point in the Revolutionary War. The British, bogged down in a protracted conflict, shifted their strategy to focus on the southern colonies. To bolster their forces, they sought alliances with Native American tribes, particularly the powerful Iroquois Confederacy, who saw an opportunity to resist colonial expansion and preserve their way of life. The Iroquois, a confederation of 6 nations, Mohawk, Oneida, Onondaga, Cayuga, Seneca, and later, Tuscarora, were skilled warriors and shrewd diplomats. Their allegiance to the British Crown tipped the scales of power in the region, posing a grave threat to the fledgling American Republic. The Continental Congress, facing increasing pressure from frontier communities terrorized by Iroquois raids, decided on a drastic course of action, a punitive expedition to crush the Iroquois and sever their alliance with the British. The Iroquois Confederacy, often referred to as the Six Nations, held vast territories across what is now New York and Pennsylvania. Their sophisticated political structure and military prowess made them a force to be reckoned with in the colonial landscape. For decades, the Iroquois had maintained a delicate balance of power, playing the British and French against each other to their advantage. The outbreak of the American Revolution, however, shattered this equilibrium. While the Oneida and Tuscarora tribes sided with the Americans, the majority of the Iroquois, led by influential leaders like Joseph Brant, Thayendanegea, of the Mohawk, saw the rebellion as a threat to their sovereignty. They chose to ally themselves with the British Crown, hoping to preserve their lands and autonomy against the encroaching tide of American expansion. The British, eager to exploit any advantage, welcomed the Iroquois alliance. They saw the Confederacy's warriors as a valuable asset in their fight against the rebels. British agents supplied the Iroquois with weapons, ammunition, and provisions, encouraging them to raid American settlements along the frontier. These raids, often characterized by their brutality and swiftness, instilled terror in the hearts of settlers and fueled demands for retribution. The escalating violence on the frontier placed the Continental Congress in a precarious position. They were already grappling with a protracted war against a formidable foe. The addition of a powerful Native American alliance to the British side threatened to undermine their entire war effort. Something had to be done to neutralize the Iroquois threat and secure the frontier. The Iroquois raids that plagued the frontier were not mere skirmishes, but coordinated assaults designed to break the spirit of the American settlers. These attacks, often carried out with terrifying speed and ferocity, left a trail of destruction and death in their wake. Men, women, and children were killed indiscriminately, their homes and crops burned, and their livestock stolen. The Wyoming Valley Massacre of 1778, in which a force of Loyalists and Iroquois warriors led by British officer John Butler descended upon a Pennsylvania settlement, stands as a chilling testament to the horrors unleashed. Hundreds of settlers were killed, with many more taken captive or forced to flee their homes. News of the atrocities committed in the Wyoming Valley and other frontier communities sent shockwaves through the colonies. The cries for retribution grew louder, fueled by grief, anger, and fear. The Continental Congress, already under immense pressure to secure a decisive victory against the British, found itself facing a moral dilemma. On the one hand, they recognized the need to protect their citizens and defend the frontier from further attacks. On the other hand, they were wary of waging all-out war against the Iroquois, fearing the consequences of alienating potential Native American allies and further inflaming the conflict. The debate raged on, but the escalating violence on the frontier ultimately tipped the scales in favor of a decisive and brutal response.